Today we're going to learn the halacha if somebody does not wash for a hamotsi, let's say during Chol Hamoed, or even some people don't eat bread during Yom Tov, whatever diet restrictions they have. So are they going to say Leishev Basukkah or not without eating bread? So we'll start with the Mishnah. The Mishnah and Daf Chafei and Masechet Sukkah says, "Oichlen v'shoisin arai chut l'sukkah." If you're eating achilas arai, meaning it's not a permanent suuda, you're snacking, that you're allowed to do without the sukkah. If you do it in the sukkah, you're not going to say Leishev Basukkah. It's not a mitzvah. So now, what's the definition of achilas arai? What's called snacking? What's called a meal? So the Gemara in Daf Chavav says like this: "V'kama achilas arai." Omar Rav Yosef tarta to last beer, 2 or 3 eggs, which is approximately today would be between 4 to 6 ounces, approximately. Omar Labai was zimnen sagin sagalel inish behochi v'abel sudas kva. Sometimes people could eat less, and it's called their suuda. El Omar Rabbi Kedetoim barbe rava oil lechala. It's like a Talmud Chacham that goes to his learning, and sometimes he doesn't have time for a big meal. He just eats something quickly, which is the way they explain the Meforshim. It's a little bit more than kabeya, a little bit more than 2 ounces. Again, the 2 ounces I'm saying it's translation of kabeya. Could be different ways to translate it, maybe a little bit less, but approximately, if you eat a little more than 2 ounces, that would be achilas kva. Now, so in this, now what you have to eat that should be achilas kva. So the Tur brings basically the way the Bach summarized it 4 shittas. He says like this. He says like this. The common. I'm reading from the Tur Siman Tarlat. V'kama achilas aroi at kabeya mipas ubeitzo bichlal, meaning up to kabeya, which is up to, again, if we're going to say kabeya, it's 2 ounces, up to 2 ounces, it's called achilas aroi. After that, kabeya plus 2 ounces plus, that's called achilas kva, and it's have to be pas. That's one shita. It's have to be bread. According to this, anything's not bread. If it's mezoin, it's fruits, or you're eating a whole suda without bread, that's called achilas aroi. And you're not going to say Leishev Basukkah. That's one shita. Then you bring the shita of Aram Rotenberg or your machmir afilu bepeiros shel ochlan chutz lesukkah. Okay, that shita we're going to see soon when lechoira it was just machmir not to eat fruits out of the sukkah, but it doesn't mean if you eat it in the sukkah you say Leishev Basukkah. So bepashtus it's not a rai. That's the second shita that even fruits he would not eat without the sukkah. Then he brings over here Rav Rabbeinu Peretz. That's the mamash. This shita more nogia to us people who don't eat bread. Rav Rabbeinu Peretz or your oimer the Peretz lo tzricha sukkah. You don't have to eat your fruits in the sukkah. Aval shar devarim bosar v'gvin v'kayotz van tzrichim. If somebody has a whole meal, meat, fish, he eats cheese. It's whole without bread, but that's his meal. That you need the sukkah. According to Rabbeinu Peretz, if you eat this, that's your suda. You're going to say bracha Leishev Basukkah. Then you bring the shittas the Rambam that the lechoira it's only bread, and then he says this. Take the 2 shittas, which is the shita of Maharami Rotenberg and the shita of Rabbeinu Peretz. That's fruits or meat, fish that they need sukkah. Hainu dalkem mishakova aleya. If you suda, I mean that's mama should make a whole meal out of it. Okay, so la halacha lemaisa is like this. By bread more than the kabeya, definitely you're going to say lekula alma, going to say Leishev Basukkah. Now, what about if we're going to talk in a minute about if you don't eat bread and it's your meal, it's fruits or vegetables, or your meal is meat, fish, and chayotza b'zeh, to think of that nature without bread. But l'maisa, what about legabe eating mezoinus? That's very practical. You eat mezoinus and a sukkah. Do you share Leishev Basukkah on this or not? And if yes, after how much? So the mechaber says like this in Shulchan Aruch, says like this: v'tavshil ha'osum b'chameshes minim. Anything you made out of the 5 grains. Part of it, it's a cake or any other type of food you make out of 5 grains, could be cereals. Im koveya olav, if that's your kviyus suda, that's going to be your breakfast, your lunch, your supper. Choshuv keva b'tzorich sukkah. That's called skva. No, but it doesn't say what's called kviyus over here. What is that kviyus? Kaveya also or not? So the Magen Avraham brings over here. He says we call mokim nearly. He says the inyan mina targima, which is again it's mezoin. As the boy sukkah im kova alayum. Now what's kova alayum? What's kviyus? Hainu kshoichel kabeya. Do me the peire. The man do the boy sukkah. According to Magen Avraham, same thing. And by the way, when it says kabeya, the machzah shekel bring it says a little bit more than kabeya. It's lab. He wasn't medagnik, but he's not. It's no machloikis. If you eat a little bit more than kabeya of mezoinas, according to Magen Avraham, again he's not mechadash and the mechaber. He learns prat in the mechaber. If you eat more than kabeya, you would say bracha Leishev Basukkah. If you eat a piece of egg, a cake today, most people the way they eat cake, it's normally, especially what you buy in the bakeries, it's more than kabeya. You will say to more than 2 ounces, you would say Leishev Basukkah. Now, not everybody masking that the shit of Magen Avraham. Many achronim choylek anim, and they say that the idea of mazonis kvius, when it says kavua, it's lead sukkah like kvius suda, and you do on mazonis when you wash for hamotsi then. Meaning, when is kvius? When you eat mazonis, and you make that's your meal. That's not over there. I'm set with 2 ounces. It's a bit there's machlokes between 3 to 4 bayim, between 6 and 8 ounces, and it's your suuda. Then you're going to say hamotzi and Leishev Basukkah.
Is it totally in the shear, or is it totally in time? Like what? Like it's my lunch.
But we're going to talk about it. Like some saying a very good, but some saying that one you take with the coffee in the morning, and this is your breakfast. That you're going to say Leishev Basukkah.
I eat breakfast and lunch in the middle of I'm eating
plus the Halacha Shiur brings if on Shabbos when people make a kiddush and just eat the mazonis to make it kiddush b'mokim suda, he says that's also called kvius because that's mokim suda. Over there l'kula alma you're going to say Leishev Basukkah. Let's say you're just doing kiddush and eating your mazonis now to make kiddush mokim suda, yeah.
Trying to be kaveh suda.
This is already a kvius. The kiddush b'mokim suda makes kvius. Anyway, but we're talking about a regular case when it not make kvius, so it's not your breakfast. You're going to the sukkah eating the mazonis. According to many poskim that disagree with the Magen Avraham. The Kavachim brings many poskim over here that they need kvius then. Kvius them not more than kabeh, meaning between 3 and between 6 and 3 and 4 kabeim, which is 6 to 8 ounces, and you saveh that's your kvius suda. Then again, you have to wash. I'm going to say Leishev Basukkah. So according to them, there's no chitimtza that you're going to say. There's no chitimtza that you're going to say mazonis and Leishev Basukkah, unless there's things that's never going to become a hamotsi. For example, if you're going to eat macaroni, even you eat kvius suda, that's your meal. You eat a lot of it. It's not sapas. It's never going to become a hamotsi. So meal over there, you could say mazonis and Leishev Basukkah, but normally, according to them, if you take cake, when are you going to say Leishev Basukkah? When you wash for it, when you eat a big suda or between 6 to 8 ounces. Anyway, so that's one. No, so the Alter Rebbe paskin like the Magen Avraham. It's usual he follows the Magen Avraham. According to Alter Rebbe, you're going to sell Leishev Basukkah when you go to the sukkah to eat with more than 2 ounces of zoinus. And according to many others, the Mishnah Berurah is choishish and the other shita says to avoid this. He says to avoid. So the Chorah we still didn't answer. What happened if somebody does not eat during Chol HaMoed? Many people don't eat bread. So he ate his bread. For full breakfast, he could have egg salad, tuna salad, fish, meat, cheese. And no bread, so he's not going to sell Leishev Basukkah. So it's very l'choire pashut kimad lekula alma. He would say Brocho Leishev Basukkah. Here is the lotion of the Taz. The Taz says like this: Nearly the mi shebedayta she'en oichel pas kol hayom. Some people they have this diet. They don't eat bread the whole day. The culture can be shemisanetan is cholam besukkos chayav levarech al sukkah b'chol pam sheiknas ba b'oisayom l'tiyul. Meaning, the chiyuv of sukkah, it's more than matzah b'Pesach. Matzah b'Pesach, the chiyuv is the first night. The rest of Pesach, if you don't eat the matzah, you don't say alachilas. And if you eat matzah the rest of Pesach, you don't say alachilas matzah, only the first 2 nights. One night, depends. Sukkah is a mitzvah, Leishev Basukkah during the 7 days. So the only reason why we go in, we don't say bracha on it, because we'll yoitza with the bracha on the bread, we'll make everything else that's part of that suda, buckle to the suda. But if I don't eat, just going to the sukkah every time, if I don't say the whole Chol HaMoed Leishev Basukkah, every time you go to the sukkah, you have to say Leishev Basukkah. How much more when it's your meal? Definitely you're going to say Leishev. So according to this, people that don't eat bread and they're going to the sukkah to eat their meal without bread, again, if we're talking about they don't eat bread at all during Chol HaMoed, so that's their yeshiva sukkah. Even they're going in without anything, they have to say bracha. Okay, so that's one inyan. There's another inyan over here. Even those which is choila that you say bracha only on a bread, not when you eat your a little bezoinus or your meal with other food. That's only, like I said, if you said bracha on your another meal that day, and it's pattering the rest of your achila. But he said, well, here's the Magen Avraham. You said bracha Leishev on your sukkah, then you're going middle of your meal, you're going to the sukkah of your neighbor. He said He said, so he says like this: Lamaisa, I'm leaving the whole master of Matan of it. Tzorich levorich Leishev Basukkah sheinis. The Magen Avraham paskin, your Leishev Basukkah was niftar by your suuda. So when you go back and forth till the next suuda, you're not saying Leishev Basukkah on your coffee, on your cake, because you were pattering it for your suuda. Not on the cake, like I said. According to the Magen Avraham, you would say every time if you eat over there out of the meal more than a kabeh, you would say Leishev Basukkah. Because according to others, no, it's part of your yoytza with the Leishev Basukkah. You said on a bread before, but you're going to sukkahs chaveiroi. Your Leishev Basukkah, your sukkah is not moitzi sukkahs chaveiroi. You're going to say bracha on his sukkah because your bracha is not moitzi you on a sukkah of someone else.
Even though you're not making bracha rishena.
Yeah, according to this. Oh, that's why the minhag is people going to the sukkahs chaveiroi, they eat something over there. The mechabed them with something that eat. The
They
oldest.
don't make a bracha.
Oh, again. So it's nish. If you're going to a sukkah of your friend, according to Magen Avraham, you would make a bracha.
Even if you have kavanah.
No, if you have kavanah, no.
You
But
have to go before that. I'm going to go to my
yeah,
friend's
that's
sukkah in the middle
no,
of the
that's
siddur.
not. No, we're talking about if you then have kavanah. If you're going to sukkahs chaverim, so that's why the minhag is to make, like I said, you're going so the mechabed you to say kivus. Another inyan. Lagabe yain also there is whole machlokes if a yain is kivus or not kivus. But kula alma moide. If people sit on a simchas v'sashoyava on a fabrengen and the kaveya themselves to drink wine, that's their kivus. That's the Bach saying clearly. That just says lekula alma. You're going to say leishev basukkah. So again, so leishev by some people leishev means only when I eat bread. Lav davka. In many scenarios, you would say leishev basukkah even without the bread. According, like I said, the Alter Rebbe, a little bit more than Avram, a little bit more than a kabei, you could say leishev basukkah. And if you're sitting together, you're going to kaveya yourself to drink together wine. You're going to sit there for a while. You're going to have talking over there and hanging out in the sukkah. You're going to say leishev basukkah over there. If you and according to like I said, Lekul Alma, like the Sharat Shuvah, I said Darchach, the Sharat Shuvah. The Sharat Shuvah, if you by Shabbos or Yom Tov, you're going to say in the morning Kiddush and have some mazoinus between Kiddush and Mokem Suda against also Lekul Alma Leishev Basukkah because that's your Kviyus Suda. So we have to be aware of that, especially when you're going to sukkah of someone else. That if you're going to sit over there for a while. L'choyre you should say Leishev Basukkah, but the minhag like I said to take something, eat something, and then say bracha Leishev Basukkah.